Now, it's a great honor for me to present the extraordinary mayor of the wonderful city of New York, Mayor Michael Bloomberg, and to welcome all of you to this wonderful and only city of cities, the heart of our great nation. New York is also the center of culture, education, progress, philanthropy, business, and more for the rest of the world. Indeed, New York is truly an international city. It's the engine of ideas that inspire people around the globe. And at the helm of this remarkable city is a remarkable man, Mayor Michael Bloomberg. The mayor, who is a previous recipient of the Carnegie Medal of Philanthropy, has not only helped to reinvigorate the life of our city and all its citizens, but also is a national leader whose integrity, intellect, character, and independent voice contribute to the strength of our nation and our democracy every day. Mayor Michael Bloomberg.
Vartan, thank you very much for those unnecessary words, but I loved every minute of it. As the mayor of New York, it is an honor to welcome so many of you, including William Thompson, to our city and to one of our city's most iconic institutions, the New York Public Library, 100 years old this year. Andrew Carnegie generously supported this library system, as you've heard. But of course, he also created one of the world's great concerts hall in our city, Carnegie Hall, and I took part in its 120th birthday celebration in May. If my piano teacher had ever heard that Mike Bloomberg was going to be on stage at Carnegie Hall, she would have fainted. There would be absolutely no amount of replees to me to practice could ever make up for my lack of talent. Anyways, I think Andrew Carnegie's most lasting gift to our city and to the world as a whole was not buildings or sets of buildings, but an idea. He expressed it in these words: "No man can become rich without himself enriching others." And I think that statement actually has two meanings. First, that no one can obtain material wealth unless what he or she makes or invents or sells in some way creates a better or easier life for others. But also, I think it suggests that no human life can be full and rewarding unless you give to your fellow human beings. And that is what we all have a responsibility to do. In fact, everyone being honored today would no doubt agree. It's not just a responsibility, it is a privilege. In that spirit, we're celebrating today. And it's a spirit by an old friend who presides over the Carnegie Corporation. He shares this with all of us. A genuinely larger-than-life figure whose wealth of knowledge about the world and restless curiosity to learn more about it are only matched by his drive to make the world a better place for all of us. A distinguished historian, a former president of Brown University, and before that the provost of the University of Pennsylvania, a former president of this illustrious institution, the New York Public Library, and also a board member of the World Trade Center Memorial Foundation and of the committee that selected the inspiring design of that memorial that opened to the public last month. And of course, I mean, those of us call him really close, we call him Greg, but Vartan Gregorian. I think a nice round of applause for him would be in order. And Vartan, before turning the podium back over to you, let me say that New York City, which was Andrew Carnegie's home for many years and the birthplace of so many philanthropic activities, which continues to mean so much to so many around the world, we are very privileged to host this ceremony once again. And thank you, one and all, for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Before I introduce our Master of Ceremonies, it's my great pleasure to welcome President William Jefferson Clinton, who would also like to pay tribute to all of you, philanthropists and guests. He wanted very much to be here, but he's away. President Clinton couldn't be here in person, but in an age of technology, that is hardly an impediment. Hence, he has recorded a greeting that we're going to share with you. We are deeply honored that President Clinton is joining us today in celebrating the power of philanthropy to change the world. President Clinton.
I'm pleased to welcome you to the Carnegie Medal of Philanthropy Awards. The philanthropists we recognize today are continuing Andrew Carnegie's legacy of investing in long-term opportunities for social progress, knowledge, and understanding. I congratulate Carnegie Corporation of New York on its centennial, and I commend my friends, including Mayor Bloomberg, who are the medal winners. You represent the innovation, imagination, and strength of character that we need to address our world's most pressing challenges. Thanks for all you do and all you will do to make a difference here and for people across the globe.
Now it's my distinct pleasure to introduce our Master of Ceremony. In the programs that you got, it said Christiana Manpour. Unfortunately, Christiana Manpour, a death in family, had to fly to London. And only 24 hours ago, everybody in my office was panicked. What are we going to do? I said, I'll call Judy Woodruff. And Judy, like always, a former trustee of our corporation, almost is ready to help. And she did. She accepted to come. What a gracious woman. What a gracious friend. Now, I'd like to introduce her, therefore. This is because over the years she has earned the respect and admiration of our nation. It is the voice that we listen to with great trust and attention, because when she speaks, she tells us what we need to know. And what she tells us imparts with clarity, with unmatched insight, with honesty and rigor, and with sense of sensibility and responsibility. She's a person who embodies the highest standards of journalistic ethics and integrity. And she's an individual of great personal conviction who has the courage to be both objective and compassionate. It was our privilege to have her serve as Master of Ceremonies when we inaugurated the Carnegie Medal of Philanthropy 10 years ago. And we are truly honored that she has returned to be with us today as we celebrate our 10th anniversary. If you have a friend like Judy, you don't need any other friend. Here is my friend, Judy Woodruff.
Thank you, Vartan. I have to say, if there's anybody here about whom the term the one and only truly applies, it's the gentleman who just introduced me. Extraordinary leader of the Carnegie Corporation of New York for the last 14 years, a guide star in the world of philanthropy, education, and knowledge broadly, a mentor to countless Vartan wannabes. All of us who know you count ourselves incredibly fortunate. Please, everybody, another show of appreciation for Dr. Gregorian. I could not say no to this man, and besides, when he asked me the other day, there was nothing really on the news docket. We didn't think this was going to be a very news-making day. Of course, as some of you may have heard now, I can share with you that the PBS NewsHour tonight will be leading with the attack and the killing today in Libya of Muammar Gaddafi. So just when we least expect it, news happens. We deal with it. This is clearly a development that the world leaders here in the United States and elsewhere will be dealing with for days to come. Again, it's a reminder of how quickly things can change when we think we have a handle on what's happening. I am especially honored to be here today because I was here standing in this very spot 10 years ago, serving as Master of Ceremonies at the first Carnegie Medal of Philanthropy ceremony. Now I am so thrilled to be back here again to help commend another group of extraordinary humanitarians. As we heard 100 years ago, Andrew Carnegie followed through on his vision of strategic philanthropy with the creation of the Carnegie Corporation of New York. A century later, the 2011 Carnegie medalists are very much trustees of that legacy. As a group, they represent an extraordinary diversity, as you've seen, of viewpoints, backgrounds, and objectives. They are visionaries, they're scientists, they're patrons of the arts, they are supporters of education, research, healthcare, and international peace and security. These 9 families and individuals hail from California, New York, Hong Kong, Norway, Chicago, Philadelphia, and St. Louis, but through their remarkable beneficence and guided by their genuine passion, diverse passion and principle, they are worthy successors to Andrew Carnegie and his vision of using private wealth for the public good. And as we wish a happy 100th birthday to so many of the institutions that Andrew Carnegie was responsible for, let us also take a moment to celebrate how deeply ingrained the notion of philanthropy has become in everyday American life, and how great an impact it has on our society and our democracy. Today, there are over 1.5 million nonprofit organizations in the United States. 9.5% of the American workforce is employed by a nonprofit organization. Every year, Americans at all income levels give a total of roughly $300 billion to charity and philanthropy. Even in the current economic hard times, charitable giving has remained remarkably resilient. Now, this may seem surprising when we see increasing inequality in American society, but it says what it says is that giving has become one part of the ethos of the American culture. Still, that growing inequality troubles us deeply, at least as much as the disappointing slow growth of our economy that we read about and hear about every day, and we live, and what it means for the millions of people who are out of work. Philanthropy, of course, is not going to turn that around. But surely it can be an example to those who despair that too little of value is being created in this country. There must be a reason that so many members of the younger generation are choosing to work in the nonprofit arena for organizations like Teach for America, and choosing to go often into public service, suggesting they see a different way to add value and to make a contribution. Some complain that so many of these young people are moving back home with mom and dad. I'm very familiar with that. But I have to tell you, we're happy to put up with it, knowing that this is a generation that is going to go on to make the world a far better place. Now, as we move ahead with the program, I want to urge you all to please enjoy this wonderful, delicious Scottish menu for lunch. Please continue to eat, and we will move ahead with the presentation of today's medals. And now, to help present the first Carnegie Medal in Philanthropy for 2011, which will go to Mr. Li Ka-shing, I want to introduce two people. First, a woman who has had a distinguished career in government, specializing in nuclear proliferation, arms control, and human rights, going back several decades. A prolific writer, student of environmental and natural resource issues, as well as national security broadly. She is president of the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Please welcome Jessica Tuchman-Matthews. And joining Jessica and returning to the stage is a man who has defined what it means to give his fortune away for good cause. He is one of the most successful city leaders in the history of this country, following a stunning career founding and building one of the most innovative companies in the world, Bloomberg LP, which, including Bloomberg News, employs more than 300,000 employees, one of them, full disclosure, my husband, thank you. An unsurpassingly generous philanthropist to his beloved Johns Hopkins University and its School of Public Health, and to so many other institutions and causes, someone who watches our diets so that we don't have to, the Mayor of New York City, once again, Mayor Michael Bloomberg.
For what it's worth, Al Hunt has been with us for a long time. Al Hunt is her husband, and he really is a distinguished journalist of his own, but we've certainly got him a little more, been training him and bringing him along. Earlier, I spoke about Andrew Carnegie's extraordinary spirit, and now it is my privilege to help present a Carnegie Medal for Philanthropy to someone who embellishes that spirit in this still new century. Like Carnegie, Pressing family needs forced him into long hours in the adult work world while he was still a boy. Like Carnegie, his bottomless capacity for hard work, his innate abilities, and his unstoppable drive quickly propelled him to the top. And now, also like Carnegie, he is devoting his fortune and his immense talents to a broad range of philanthropic endeavors. He helped many thousands of people put their homes and communities back together after the devastating earthquake that struck Western China in 2008, and thousands upon thousands of people across China who now have artificial limbs or who have benefited from life-changing cleft palate surgery have him to thank. But as the citation I'm about to present tells us, all that only scratches the surface of his generosity and of the impact that he continues to make in areas ranging from education to the arts to medical research. 2 years ago, it was my privilege to stand on this spot and receive the Carnegie Medal of Philanthropy from Caroline Kennedy. And today, it is my great pleasure to describe for you the life and work of someone who, while renowned for his modesty and frugality of his own habits, has been unsparing in his generosity to others. And let me add that I've been delighted by the opportunity to meet him this week and establish what I hope will be a lasting friendship. In terms of his frugality, I can just tell you, we let him pick the menu, and it was my favorite, hot dogs and hamburgers. The Carnegie Medal of Philanthropy citation reads, Li Ka-shing, you are an extraordinary philanthropist. Like Andrew Carnegie in his time, you are forging new paths of benevolence, demonstrating the power of using great private wealth for the public good. Although you oversee 2 multinational groups with 250,000 employees in 52 nations, your true calling is running your foundation. Calling it your third son, you have pledged to give 1/3 of your fortune to support its endeavors worldwide. As you have said, to be able to contribute to society and help those in need to build a better life, that is the ultimate meaning in life. Your early years were filled with hardship. At the age of 12, you were forced to flee with your family to Hong Kong to escape the perils of war. Soon after, your father died of tuberculosis, and as the eldest son, you had to abandon school to become the family's provider, an experience that gave you a deep appreciation of the need for better educational opportunities and health care. When you were only 14 years old, you were laboring 16 hours a day in a plastics manufacturing company. But by the age of 22, you had your own factory that in time became the largest maker and exporter of plastics in Hong Kong. Today, as the chairman of the immensely successful global corporations Chung Kong Holdings and Hutchinson Whampoa, you devote much of your time and wealth to helping others. The Li Ka-shing Foundation, which you established in 1980, has provided more than $1.6 billion to support creative, constructive, and sustainable projects in education, healthcare, culture, and the arts. Shantou University, which you founded in 1981 in your hometown, is meant to engineer reforms in China's education system and is especially dear to your heart. Your far-reaching altruism reflects your faith in the power of combined efforts, the importance of those who are too often overlooked, and the responsibility to lift one another up. As your foundation has grown, you have introduced Asia to a culture of giving. You serve as an example to others so that they may join you in a new spirit of philanthropy that will transcend the traditional values requiring wealth to pass through lineage. In your dedication to social progress, innovation, and creativity, you live by Andrew Carnegie's words, which could well be your own. There is nothing inherently valuable in mere money worth striving for, unless it is to be administered as a sacred trust for the good of others. Li Ka-shing, on behalf of our nation and all nations, for your sacrifice of time, energy, and resources to helping others regardless of race, class, or circumstances, we honor you and offer our sincere thanks. Come right up here with the cameras.